It was an ordinary day on Earth when everything changed. Without warning, a massive alien fleet appeared in Earth's orbit. Thousands of enormous ships, each bigger than any human-built vessel, hovered above the planet like a dark cloud. The fleet's leader, Zorak, broadcasted a chilling message to the entire world. His voice, cold and authoritative, echoed through every communication channel, cutting across radio, TV, and the internet. Humans, Zorak's voice boomed, you are weak, insignificant. You are nothing in the grand scheme of the universe. You have one chance. Prove your worth, or face total annihilation. Surrender now and demonstrate your power, or we will destroy your world. The message sent shockwaves across the globe. People froze, unsure of how to react. Governments scrambled to respond. Earth had always been a peaceful planet, unaware that such an advanced alien race even existed. The sudden appearance of the fleet, more advanced than anything humanity had ever seen, left everyone in a state of panic and disbelief. If humanity couldn't show them their strength, the alien race would destroy Earth without a second thought. No one knew what these aliens were capable of. They had superior technology, weapons far beyond anything human soldiers had ever imagined, and the threat of annihilation hanging over their heads. The stakes couldn't have been higher. Captain Alex Reed, leader of an elite special forces unit, was among the first to respond. His team was trained for situations like this, though no one could have predicted the scale of this threat. As he watched the alien fleet from the command center, a sinking feeling spread through him. His heart raced, not because of fear, but because of the overwhelming sense of danger. These aliens were not interested in diplomacy or negotiation, they wanted power. And they were more than capable of taking it. Reed looked around at his team. He could see the same thoughts in their eyes, uncertainty, worry, but also determination. They knew Earth had one chance to survive. If they failed, humanity would face its extinction. But despite all their advanced technology, they knew they were outmatched. Zorak's ships were cloaked, invisible to any radar, and they had the ability to strike at any time, from any angle. We need to act fast, Captain Reed said, his voice steady but urgent. We can't let them take the initiative. We have to show them that we won't back down. The human military mobilized quickly, but there was no time to develop a strategy or prepare properly. Zorak's fleet was already demonstrating its immense power. The first sign of their destructive capabilities came just hours after the challenge was issued. One of the alien ships fired a single, focused beam at a satellite orbiting Earth, obliterating it in a flash of light. The destruction was swift and total, leaving no trace of the satellite behind. It was a terrifying reminder that the aliens were not bluffing. If they could destroy something as large and far away as a satellite with such ease, what could they do to an entire city? Human forces scrambled to respond. The global defense systems were put on high alert, and military units were deployed to strategic locations. But Zorak's fleet was unlike anything Earth had ever encountered. Earth's most advanced weapons, missiles, railguns, and laser systems, were no match for the aliens' superior technology. The humans' best efforts barely made a dent in the alien shields, which seemed impervious to Earth's weapons. Captain Reed watched the chaos unfold on screens in front of him. He saw the devastation on the streets below, where people ran for cover, trying to escape the shadow of the alien ships above. The world was at war, but the odds were not in humanity's favor. The humans had always believed they were the dominant force on Earth, but now, they were facing an enemy that was far more powerful. We need to find a way to counter their cloaking devices, Reed said, his voice tinged with frustration. We can't even see them until they strike. The alien ships had the ability to cloak themselves completely, making them invisible to human sensors and weapons. This made it nearly impossible to track their movements, let alone engage them in combat. Any attempt to launch an attack was met with failure, as the aliens remained undetected until they struck. As the hours passed, it became clear that the alien fleet was testing Earth's defenses. They weren't just trying to destroy Earth, they were trying to see how much humanity could withstand. Each attack, each demonstration of power, was a challenge. And with every passing minute, the pressure on humanity to act became more intense. "We're running out of time," one of Reed's officers said, eyes wide with fear. "If we don't do something soon, they'll wipe us out." Reed's mind raced. He knew that if humanity didn't show some sort of resistance, they would be wiped out. But how could they fight an enemy they couldn't see? How could they defeat an enemy whose technology was far more advanced than their own? That's when an idea began to form in Reed's mind. The aliens were clearly powerful, but they were also overconfident. They had no reason to fear humanity, they believed they were superior. But humanity's greatest strength wasn't its technology, it was its ability to adapt, to learn, and to fight back with every ounce of determination. Reed knew that Earth's only chance was to exploit the aliens' arrogance, to show them that humanity wasn't willing to simply roll over and die. "We need to fight back," Reed said, his voice firm. "We're not going to let them destroy us without a fight. Prepare for everything." With that, Captain Reed and his team set off on a dangerous mission, to find a way to track the cloaked alien ships and mount a defense. The team knew they were facing overwhelming odds, but they had no choice. If humanity wanted to survive, they had to prove their worth. The tension on Earth was rising, and the alien threat loomed larger with each passing day. As Earth's defenses failed to make any significant impact on the powerful alien fleet, the world's leaders were forced to confront the harsh reality of their situation. The alien ships, invisible to human radar, continued to hover ominously above Earth. Each day, the threat grew stronger, and the hope of a peaceful resolution seemed more and more impossible. Earth's leaders, however, refused to bow to the alien demand for surrender. They made it clear to the world, Earth would not give up without a fight. Meanwhile, Captain Alex Reed and his team had become the symbol of humanity's resistance. Despite their initial defeat, they refused to be intimidated. They knew that the only way to survive this alien invasion was to fight back, whatever the cost. As humanity's military scrambled to find a solution, Reed and his team began intensive training, not just in traditional combat, but also in the use of experimental cloaking technology. They had to find a way to level the playing field against an enemy who could turn invisible at will. Reed stood at the front of the command room, watching as his team prepared for the next phase of their mission. The sleek new cloaking devices they were training with could make them invisible to alien sensors, just like the Zorth ships. But it was still a huge risk. No one knew if the technology would actually work when it mattered. With no choice but to gamble on this new tech, Reed gathered his team for a final briefing. "We've got one shot at this," Reed said, his voice strong yet filled with urgency. "The Zorth are powerful, but they have one weakness: they underestimate us. If we can outsmart them, we stand a chance." The members of his team nodded, determination in their eyes. They knew the risks. Many of them had lost comrades in earlier battles, but this time, they were going to fight back in a way the aliens hadn't anticipated. As Reed prepared for his next move, the camera cut to a much darker scene, deep within the heart of the alien fleet. Zorak, the alien commander, stood tall on his warship, his eyes cold and calculating. He was a massive creature, his skin a mix of dark red and black, with sharp, angular features that gave him a menacing appearance. Zorak was a member of the Zorth, an ancient and technologically superior race that had conquered many worlds across the galaxy. He was ruthless, unyielding, and believed wholeheartedly in his race's superiority. Zorak's eyes glowed with a fierce light as he watched Earth's feeble attempts to fight back. His fleet, invisible to human weapons, had destroyed satellites, wiped out military bases, and proved time and again that Earth stood no chance against the might of the Zorth. But Zorak was not content to simply destroy humanity. He viewed the entire human race as inferior, weak, and undisciplined, unfit to live in a galaxy dominated by the Zorth. "They are nothing but ants," Zorak said to his second-in-command, a high-ranking officer named Thalrek. Their technology is primitive, their species fragile. They do not deserve to exist. Thalrek, ever loyal, nodded in agreement. The humans will break soon, Commander. They are outmatched. But Zorak was not interested in waiting for the humans to collapse on their own. He had other plans. He wanted to make an example of Earth, to show the galaxy that no race could defy the Zorth and live. He had already made his demands clear, but the humans had refused to submit. Zorak, now determined to crush humanity's defiance, issued a new order to his fleet: eliminate all resistance. Show them the price of defying us. Back on Earth, the situation was dire. Cities lay in ruins, and entire countries had been forced to retreat into defensive positions. But Earth's leaders refused to give up. They called upon their greatest military minds, civilians, and soldiers to prepare for a fight that would determine the fate of the entire planet. The Global Alliance rallied together, united by a single goal: to survive and protect Earth from annihilation. While the world's governments were busy mobilizing their forces, Reed and his team continued to train with the experimental cloaking devices. The technology was still in its early stages, but they were desperate. The ability to remain invisible could give humanity the edge it needed. The Zorth might be technologically advanced, but they had one major flaw: they relied too heavily on their own power, and they had underestimated humanity's resilience. If the humans could match the alien stealth capabilities, they could turn the tables. Reed's team practiced their new skills relentlessly, learning how to move silently through the shadows, how to remain undetected by the alien sensors. It was grueling work, but there was no time to waste. Each day that passed brought Earth closer to destruction, and they had to act before it was too late. "We're not just training for war," Reed told his team one evening. "We're training for survival. The Zorth believe we're weak, that we'll fold under pressure. But we're going to show them we're stronger than they ever imagined." As the days went on, the stakes grew higher. Humanity's last hope rested in the hands of these brave soldiers, who were preparing for the impossible: a guerrilla war against an invincible enemy. The team would move in small, covert units, striking when and where the Zorth least expected it. It would be a battle of cunning and stealth, where every decision could mean the difference between life and death. The entire world held its breath. As Reed and his team geared up for their mission, they knew this was it, the point of no return. The time for fear was over. If humanity was going to win this war, they would need to fight with everything they had. The alien invaders may have had superior technology, but humans had something the Zorth could never understand: the will to survive, the will to fight for what was theirs. The moment of truth had arrived. Earth's military had spent days preparing for their first major offensive against the alien fleet. Every available weapon was deployed, and all eyes were on the skies as humanity's forces made their move. The tension was palpable. This would be the first real test of their strength since the Zorth had made their challenge. As Earth's forces launched their first strike, the world held its breath. Thousands of missiles were launched into the air, powerful railguns fired across vast distances, and fighter jets cut through the sky. The human military had one goal in mind: to cripple the alien fleet before they could destroy Earth completely. But the Zorth had been ready. Their cloaking devices and defensive shields made the alien ships nearly invulnerable to human weapons. The moment Earth's missiles approached the alien fleet, they vanished into thin air. The aliens' cloaking systems activated instantly, rendering them invisible. The humans' most powerful weapons, designed to pierce even the toughest shields, collided harmlessly with empty space. Every attempt to strike the aliens ended in failure. Humanity's first strike, full of hope and desperation, was crushed before it even had a chance to succeed. "Impossible," Captain Reed muttered under his breath as he watched the chaos unfold from the command center. "They've already countered everything we have." The alien ships, now revealed in their full, terrifying form, retaliated with swift, overwhelming power. Energy beams rained down from the invisible vessels, obliterating entire sections of Earth's defense lines. The human forces scrambled to respond, but their efforts were futile against the sheer might of the Zorth fleet. The humans were left reeling, unable to mount any meaningful defense. The battle was a disaster, and Earth's forces were left battered and broken. The reality set in: the Zorth were unbeatable. Their advanced AI systems, integrated into every ship, made their tactics unpredictable and nearly impossible to counter. The AI was capable of analyzing every move in real time, predicting human strategies before they even happened. The humans couldn't outthink or outmaneuver the alien technology. It was a crushing realization, and it left the military feeling more hopeless than ever. Amid the devastation, the human resistance continued to struggle. It was clear that the only way to even stand a chance against the Zorth was to somehow disable their AI system. The aliens' artificial intelligence was the heart of their fleet, controlling everything from their weapons systems to their evasive maneuvers. Without it, the Zorth would be vulnerable, at least in theory. Captain Reed and his team were tasked with the most dangerous mission of all: infiltrating an alien ship and disabling the AI. The plan was risky, requiring them to board a heavily defended ship, find the AI core, and destroy it from the inside. It was a suicide mission, but the humans knew they had no other choice. Among the team was Lieutenant Emma Garcia, a skilled hacker and one of the most beloved members of the team. Garcia had a special connection with Reed, and her skills in tech were crucial to the mission. She was quiet but determined, always the first to volunteer for the toughest tasks. She had the respect of her comrades and was known for her unwavering resolve. In a time when the world seemed on the verge of collapse, Garcia was a beacon of hope for her fellow soldiers. As the team infiltrated the alien ship, the stakes were higher than ever. They moved silently through the corridors, using their experimental cloaking devices to avoid detection. But the alien ship wasn't easy to navigate. The Zorth had advanced security systems, and despite their best efforts, the humans were eventually detected. It was a race against time. If they didn't disable the AI soon, the entire mission would be lost. The final assault on the AI core was a desperate push. The team fought their way to the heart of the ship, but as they neared the AI control room, the situation turned grim. The Zorth were everywhere, and their counterattack was swift. In the chaos, Garcia managed to reach the AI control panel, but the room was heavily guarded. As she worked frantically to hack into the system, one of the Zorth soldiers appeared from the shadows, opening fire. In the ensuing gunfight, Garcia was hit. Her body crumpled to the floor, and her teammates rushed to her side. But it was too late. Despite their efforts to save her, Garcia died in the cold, sterile confines of the alien ship. Her loss was a devastating blow to the team, especially to Reed, who had always seen her as a close friend and ally. "Emma, no," Reed whispered, grief and rage flooding through him. He had never felt such a heavy loss, not in all his years of fighting. Garcia's death left a hole in his heart that could never be filled. The mission had failed, and their hopes of crippling the Zorth's fleet seemed to slip further away. Garcia's death sparked something inside the remaining members of the team. The loss was unbearable, but it also ignited a fire within them. They had come too far to give up now. Emma had died fighting for the future of humanity, and they wouldn't let her sacrifice be in vain. Her death was a turning point, a wake-up call that pushed them to dig deeper, to find new strength in the face of overwhelming odds. The team knew they had to keep fighting. They couldn't afford to grieve for too long, there was still a war to win. They needed to make her proud and finish the mission they had started. Captain Reed, although broken by the loss of his friend, gathered his team and rallied them together. "We're going to make them pay for Emma," Reed said, his voice trembling with emotion but firm with purpose. "We're not done yet. We're going to find a way to beat them. We'll reverse engineer their tech, we'll learn everything we can, and we'll make sure Emma didn't die for nothing." The death of Emma Garcia had turned the tide. The team's grief transformed into a renewed sense of determination. They couldn't let the Zorth continue their path of destruction. Humanity had no choice but to fight back, and they would fight with everything they had. The days following Emma Garcia's death were heavy with grief. But Captain Alex Reed and his team knew that they couldn't afford to mourn for long. They had a war to win, and their mission had become more urgent than ever. The loss of one of their own fueled their determination to strike back harder against the Zorth. Despite the overwhelming odds, hope began to flicker once again in the form of a breakthrough. While the team had been devastated by their failed assault on the alien ship, they had managed to capture one of the Zorth soldiers during the chaos. This prisoner, a member of the Zorth elite, was considered one of the most dangerous beings in the galaxy. But to the humans, this alien was now their only hope. Dr. Harper, a brilliant human scientist, was called in to interrogate the prisoner. He wasn't the type of scientist to shy away from danger. Dr. Harper had worked on developing cloaking devices for Earth's military, and his research had saved many lives. But now, he faced a challenge unlike anything he had ever imagined. The prisoner, despite being injured, was still a highly advanced being, and extracting useful information from him seemed nearly impossible. Dr. Harper didn't waste any time. He started by carefully studying the Zortha's neural structure and their technology. After days of painstaking work, he discovered something incredible: the Zortha's advanced AI system wasn't invulnerable. In fact, it had a weakness. If the right virus was uploaded into its core, it could disable the entire fleet's command systems. The Zortha's AI was deeply integrated into their ships and weapons, so shutting it down would cripple their entire force. This could be the opportunity humanity needed to turn the tide. The virus was ready, but there was a major problem. The only way to upload it was to physically enter the heart of the alien mothership and directly implant the virus into their AI core. This task was nearly impossible. The alien mothership was an impenetrable fortress, guarded by countless Zorth ships and drones. No human had ever come close to getting inside, and the risks of such a mission were astronomical. But Captain Reed knew that they had no other choice. This was their chance to finally strike back, to end the Zorth threat once and for all. The team had already lost so much, and they couldn't afford to fail again. Captain Reed, though known for his leadership and bravery, was not immune to the weight of their mission. The death of Emma Garcia still haunted him. Her face was always in his thoughts, her smile, her quiet strength, and her unshakable belief in their cause. She had been a key member of the team, and losing her felt like losing a piece of himself. As the plan to infiltrate the mothership took shape, Reed found himself questioning everything. Was it worth it? Was risking the lives of his team for a chance at survival the right choice? He had seen so many good men and women fall in battle, and every loss left its mark on him. The burden of leadership pressed heavily on his shoulders. He had to lead the team, but at the same time, he couldn't shake the fear that they, too, would never return. In his private moments, Reed struggled with his own self-doubt. He would walk through the ship's corridors late at night, looking out into the vast expanse of space. The stars seemed distant, cold, and indifferent to the human struggle. He would think of Emma, of the lives that had been lost, and wonder if this war would ever end. But there was something else, something deeper that pushed Reed forward. The desire to avenge Emma, to protect the people of Earth, and to save humanity from extinction kept him from surrendering to despair. He couldn't afford to let the weight of grief paralyze him. His team depended on him. The future of Earth depended on him. And if he had to face his own fears, if he had to march into the heart of the Zorth mothership, then he would do it. As Reed prepared for the most dangerous mission of their lives, the team began to bond in ways they hadn't before. The loss of Emma had created a sense of unity among them. They all understood the stakes now, and they all knew that they couldn't afford to fail. Each member of the team had lost someone, whether it was friends, family, or comrades, and that loss fueled their desire for victory. Lieutenant David O'Connor, the team's weapons expert, was especially affected by Emma's death. He had known her for years, and she had been like a sister to him. He now carried a deep, burning need to avenge her death. He worked tirelessly alongside Dr. Harper, helping to prepare the virus and ensuring that the team had everything they needed for the mission ahead. Sergeant Sarah Lee, the team's medic, also struggled with her emotions. She had saved countless lives, but she couldn't save Emma. The guilt weighed heavily on her, but it also made her more determined than ever to make sure no more lives were lost needlessly. She made it her mission to keep the team healthy and in top form, knowing that the upcoming mission would require every ounce of strength and courage they had. The team's bond was stronger than ever. They knew that they had to fight for their fallen comrades, for Emma, for the future of humanity. This wasn't just a mission to save Earth, it was a mission to honor the sacrifices of those who had given everything to protect it. Each member of the team carried that responsibility on their shoulders. With the virus ready and the team more united than ever, Captain Reed knew that it was time to move forward. The plan was simple but deadly. The team would infiltrate the Zorth mothership, upload the virus into their AI core, and escape before the entire fleet could retaliate. But there was one thing Reed had learned: plans don't always survive contact with the enemy. As they prepared for the mission, Reed felt a surge of resolve. The team was ready, and so was he. The pain of losing Emma would always remain, but it would no longer hold him back. They would fight for the future of humanity. They would avenge their fallen comrades. And, most importantly, they would make sure that no one would ever forget the price they had paid for freedom. The plan was set, and Captain Alex Reed stood at the helm, feeling the weight of the mission more than ever before. This was it, humanity's last chance. The strike team was ready to infiltrate the Zorth mothership, the heart of the alien fleet. The goal was simple: upload the anti-AI virus into their system, disable their command network, and cripple the alien forces. But the reality of the mission was far from simple. The strike team consisted of just 5 soldiers, each hand-picked by Captain Reed. They were the best of the best, trained in stealth, combat, and strategy. The team had been using cutting-edge cloaking technology that Earth's scientists had developed, allowing them to blend into their surroundings and remain unseen. Their mission was to board the mothership, sneak inside its walls, and upload the virus directly into the alien AI system. But there was one catch: the Zorth mothership was a fortress. Every inch of it was protected by a complex web of sensors, alarms, and highly trained guards. Reed looked over his team one final time before they departed. They were silent, their faces serious. They knew that this mission could very well be their last, but they were willing to risk everything to save Earth. They boarded the stealth shuttle, cloaking it so well that the alien ships couldn't even detect their approach. The countdown began, and as the ship shot forward toward the mothership, the team braced themselves for what lay ahead. The shuttle silently slipped through the dark void of space, nearing the massive Zorth ship. The towering alien vessel loomed ahead, its sleek metallic surface reflecting the distant stars. For all its beauty, the mothership was a symbol of destruction. A symbol of everything humanity had fought against. As they neared the ship, Captain Reed's heart raced. Every instinct told him to stay calm. But the tension was unbearable. One mistake, just one slip-up, and their mission would be doomed. They had no room for error. The shuttle docked on a hidden bay on the side of the mothership, out of sight from the alien guards. The team was ready to move. As soon as they stepped onto the alien ship, the air seemed to grow thicker with tension. The cloaking devices kept them hidden from sight, but they knew that the Zorth had other ways of detecting intruders. The team moved swiftly but silently, sticking to the shadows, using the alien ship's narrow corridors and dark chambers to their advantage. The team's footsteps were muffled by the hum of the ship's engines as they navigated through the vast, unknown interior. Every member of the team knew that they couldn't afford to make any noise or draw attention to themselves. They could feel the weight of the ship's advanced security systems all around them. The walls were lined with alien technology, glowing panels, strange symbols, and holographic screens that the humans had never seen before. Every corner they turned, every shadow they passed, could hide a danger that they couldn't predict. But they had no choice. They had to press forward. As they moved deeper into the heart of the mothership, the team communicated only in whispers, sharing brief, urgent glances. They had one mission: get to the core of the ship and upload the virus. But the deeper they went, the more the silence felt unnerving. It was as if the ship itself was aware of their presence. The walls seemed to pulse with an eerie energy, and Reed could sense the quiet hum of the alien technology around them. It was both alien and menacing, reminding them of how outmatched they were. The first firefight was inevitable. The team reached an open chamber, and suddenly, they were ambushed. A squad of Zorth soldiers, heavily armored and equipped with advanced energy weapons, appeared out of nowhere. The humans were trained for moments like this, but the aliens' sheer strength and firepower were overwhelming. Without hesitation, Captain Reed gave the command, and the team sprang into action. Lieutenant David O'Connor, the weapons expert, opened fire, his gun blazing as it tore through the alien ranks. The Zorth soldiers retaliated with laser blasts, the beams sizzling through the air and narrowly missing the humans. The team was quick on their feet, using every piece of cover they could find as they fought back. In the heat of the battle, Sergeant Sarah Lee took a hit but didn't hesitate. She gritted her teeth, pushed forward, and kept fighting. Her medic training came into play as she kept herself and the team in the fight, patching up wounds with quick precision while maintaining the tempo of their assault. She fired her sidearm with deadly accuracy, taking down one of the Zorth soldiers in a matter of seconds. As the firefight raged on, Private Marcus Mac Steele, the youngest member of the team, showed his courage. He had always been quick to make decisions under pressure, and it showed in the heat of the moment. He tossed a grenade into the midst of the enemy, causing a massive explosion that sent several Zorth soldiers flying. The humans were making headway, but the Zorth soldiers were relentless. The sound of alien weapons fire and human gunfire filled the chamber, creating a chaotic, dangerous scene. Reed's voice was calm despite the chaos. He knew that every second counted. Push forward. The core is just ahead, he ordered. The team was tired, their energy drained from the intense combat, but they pressed on. They had to reach the AI core. They had to complete the mission, no matter the cost. Back on Earth, the battle raged on as well. The remaining forces of humanity fought desperately to hold off the Zorth fleet. Earth's soldiers, armed with advanced weaponry, were doing their best to keep the alien ships at bay, but the Zorth had numbers and firepower on their side. They knew that the human strike team was their only hope, and they were counting on them to disable the alien fleet's command systems before it was too late. The clock was ticking, and every passing moment brought the humans closer to either victory or annihilation. Earth's forces fought with everything they had, but only time could tell if it would be enough. The mission had brought Captain Alex Reed and his team to the heart of the Zorth mothership. They had fought their way through alien soldiers, endured close calls, and now, after what felt like an eternity, Captain Reed finally reached the central core, the location where the anti-AI virus needed to be uploaded. But just as the captain began to prepare for the task, an unexpected figure stepped out from the shadows. It was Zorak, the ruthless commander of the Zorth fleet. His cold, calculating gaze locked onto Reed, and the tension in the air was palpable. For a moment, both men stood still, sizing each other up. Zorak's towering alien form was imposing, but there was a strange arrogance in his eyes, a belief that no human could defeat him. "You've come so far, human," Zorak sneered, his voice deep and menacing. "But this is where your journey ends. You cannot defeat me." Reed stood firm, despite the exhaustion and pain of the battle that had led him here. He knew the stakes were higher than ever before. The virus had to be uploaded to disable the alien fleet, but there was no way they would get another chance if he didn't act quickly. Yet, Zorak's challenge to a one-on-one battle was a twist none of them had expected. "You think you can stop me?" Zorak continued, his voice full of derision. "I am the leader of a superior race, and you are nothing but an insect to me. Fight me, if you must." But you will lose. Captain Reed didn't hesitate. With everything on the line, there was no turning back now. He unsheathed his weapon, and with a sharp nod, he accepted the challenge. The mission could not succeed without this final confrontation. The virus could not be uploaded while the alien leader was still standing. The battle began with a loud clash as Zorak charged, his alien weapon crackling with energy. He moved with incredible speed, far faster than any human, but Reed was prepared. His training, experience, and raw human instinct took over. The two combatants exchanged blows, each one more powerful than the last. Zorak's strength was overwhelming, but Reed's agility and sharp thinking kept him in the fight. Reed ducked and dodged, narrowly avoiding Zorak's powerful strikes. His mind raced, looking for an opening, any weakness. Zorak's arrogance had clouded his judgment, and that was something Reed could exploit. The alien leader relied too heavily on his advanced technology, believing that his strength alone would ensure victory. Zorak let out a growl of frustration. He was used to easily crushing his opponents, but this human was different. Reed's skill with hand-to-hand combat was unmatched, and his ability to anticipate Zorak's next move gave him the edge. For every strike Zorak landed, Reed retaliated with quick jabs and calculated moves that slowly wore down the alien leader. But it wasn't just the physical fight that would win this battle, it was also the fight in Reed's heart. He remembered his fallen comrades, the friends he had lost during the war. He thought of Lieutenant Emma Garcia, who had died in the early days of the battle, and the countless others who had sacrificed everything to protect Earth. Their memories fueled his resolve. Zorak's arrogance turned into rage as Reed continued to outmaneuver him. "You cannot win, human." Zorak bellowed, his voice filled with fury. "I am the future of the galaxy." "You're not the future," Reed shot back, sweat dripping down his face. "You're just a bully with advanced technology. But you're still human, just like me. And we're not giving up without a fight." With a sudden burst of energy, Reed launched himself at Zorak. He used a series of fast, precise strikes to disarm the alien leader, knocking his weapon aside. Zorak staggered back, shocked by Reed's relentless assault. For the first time, the alien commander looked uncertain. Seizing the opportunity, Reed grabbed a nearby alien energy blade and lunged forward. He caught Zorak off guard, and with one final strike, Reed knocked the alien leader to the ground. Zorak's enormous frame crumpled beneath the force of the blow, and for a moment, it seemed as though the battle was won. But Reed didn't waste any time. He knew the real victory lay in completing the mission. He rushed toward the central core, where a console awaited him. The core was surrounded by layers of advanced alien technology, but Reed was quick. His fingers flew over the controls, expertly bypassing the security measures. His heart pounded in his chest as he finally found the upload interface. Reed inserted the anti-AI virus into the system, watching the progress bar fill up. But even as the virus began its work, the alien fleet outside the mothership continued to maintain its position. Time was running out. He could hear the rumble of explosions from the ongoing battle between Earth's forces and the alien fleet. Suddenly, an alarm blared. Reed's eyes widened as he realized that Zorak's death had triggered an automatic self-destruct sequence within the mothership. The clock was ticking down, and they had only moments before the entire ship would be destroyed. With a sense of urgency, Reed confirmed the virus was uploading correctly. He didn't look back as the countdown continued. The lights flickered, and the alien mothership trembled with the energy of the virus taking hold. Reed took a deep breath and turned to leave. As he ran through the corridors, he could feel the ship groaning and cracking around him. The Zorth were finished, their command systems were down, their fleet was crippled, and the human forces had successfully gained the upper hand. Just as the countdown reached its final seconds, Captain Reed and his team managed to escape the mothership's collapsing hull. They dove into their shuttle, racing towards safety as the massive alien ship exploded behind them. The shockwave from the explosion rattled their ship, but they had made it out just in time. Reed's heart still raced, but he allowed himself a moment to breathe. The battle was over. The Zorth fleet was defeated. Humanity had won. And though they had lost so many along the way, the victory was sweet. Earth had survived, thanks to the sacrifices of so many brave men and women. Part 6 was the culmination of a desperate struggle for survival. In the final showdown, Captain Reed faced Zorak, the alien commander, in a battle that tested not only his physical strength but his determination and will to fight for humanity's future. With the help of his team and the anti-AI virus, Reed managed to defeat Zorak, upload the virus, and cripple the Zorth fleet, ensuring humanity's survival and victory. The ultimate sacrifice had been made, but the price of freedom was worth it. After the final battle, Earth's forces were left standing victorious. The alien fleet, once so powerful and confident in their superiority, was now crippled. The massive mothership, its central core disabled by the anti-AI virus, was drifting helplessly in space, its once menacing power gone. Zorak's arrogance had led to the downfall of his people. The Zorth, defeated and humiliated, began their retreat. Their invasion had failed, and they had no choice but to flee. As the alien ships turned and retreated, Earth's military forces, battered but determined, began to regroup. The war had cost them dearly. The battles had been fierce, and they had lost many good soldiers along the way. But humanity had prevailed. The remaining Zorth fleet, now leaderless and shattered, retreated into the distant reaches of space. They would not threaten Earth again, for now, at least. The most important victory was yet to come. Earth's forces quickly took control of the alien mothership, the very ship that had once been the symbol of the Zortha's power. The soldiers who boarded the ship worked quickly to disable its weapons and secure its technology. The Zorth mothership was massive, with strange and powerful technology that Earth had never encountered before. Scientists and engineers from around the world were now tasked with studying it, learning its secrets. It was a treasure trove of advanced alien technology that could be used to protect Earth from future threats. But even in the midst of their victory, the cost of the war weighed heavily on Captain Alex Reed and his team. The battlefield was quiet, but their minds were filled with the memories of the fallen, of the friends and comrades who had not made it back. The victory was theirs, but the price was steep. Humanity had won, but at what cost? Captain Reed stood before the team, his face a mixture of exhaustion and resolve. He had been through the toughest battle of his life, facing not only the alien threat but also the loss of many close friends, including his team's most trusted member, Lieutenant Emma Garcia. She had given her life for the mission, as had so many others. The weight of their sacrifices hung heavily in the air, but there was also a sense of pride in Reed's heart. In front of the gathered soldiers and survivors, Captain Reed spoke, his voice steady and strong. This victory, he began, is not just ours. It belongs to everyone who fought and died for it. It belongs to the soldiers who never gave up, to the scientists who worked tirelessly, and to every single person who stood together and believed in the impossible. We may have lost many, but we have proven one thing: humanity will never back down, no matter the odds. The crowd fell silent, and Reed's words resonated with everyone present. There had been moments when it had seemed as if they would lose. Moments when the alien fleet had seemed unstoppable. But in the end, humanity's resilience had won out. Their unity, their willingness to sacrifice, and their refusal to accept defeat had been the key to their survival. The Zorth thought they could break us. They thought they were superior. But they didn't count on our will to survive. We are stronger together than they could ever have imagined. And that is why we are still here, Reed continued. But this victory doesn't mean we stop fighting. It means we keep going, we keep learning, and we keep preparing. The Zorth might be gone for now, but there are other threats out there. And we will be ready. The survivors nodded in agreement, their faces set with determination. They had witnessed the devastation of war, but they had also witnessed the strength of the human spirit. The battle had been long and brutal, but in the end, humanity had prevailed. With the alien threat behind them, Earth began the slow process of rebuilding. The world's governments, once divided, came together in a renewed sense of unity. The resources that had been devoted to fighting the war were now directed toward rebuilding cities, healing wounds, and strengthening their defenses. The technology recovered from the alien mothership would play a key role in this effort, giving humanity the tools to protect itself in the future. As for Captain Reed, he knew that the war was over, but his duty was not. There would always be new challenges, new threats to face. But as he looked out over the horizon, he felt a sense of hope that humanity, despite everything it had been through, would continue to rise. It had learned its lessons, and it had emerged stronger. Looking to the future. The final moments of the story show Earth preparing for the future. The lessons learned from the war with the Zorth would guide humanity in the years to come. Military forces were reorganized and strengthened, ready for any new threats. The global community worked together to create a new world order, one in which cooperation and unity were at the forefront. Captain Reed, standing with his team, looked out at the world they had saved. The Earth was scarred, but it was alive. It was more united than ever, and its people were ready to face whatever the future held. They knew there would always be challenges ahead, but they also knew they had the strength to overcome them. In the end, the price of survival had been steep, but it had been worth every sacrifice. Humanity had faced extinction, had fought against an overwhelming force, and had emerged victorious. And as they looked to the stars, they knew that they would never again allow themselves to be caught off guard. The lesson of the Zorth was clear: the price of peace was eternal vigilance. And with that, Captain Reed and the survivors walked into the future, knowing that the strength of the human spirit would continue to carry them forward, no matter the cost. In the final moments of this epic tale, the story of humanity's struggle against the alien invasion comes full circle. From the terrifying appearance of the alien fleet to the ultimate sacrifice made by Captain Reed and his team, this story is one of courage, unity, and hope. Despite the heavy losses, humanity's resilience ensured its survival, and it is this resilience that will continue to drive them toward a brighter future. The victory was hard-won, but it was a victory that would define the future of humankind.